Hey folks, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. How y'all doing, folks? leaving leaving the job, the 9 to 5 right now. Motivational speech this morning. I heard this from the actual governor of Maryland, Wes Moore. He's actually the first African American governor or like to be elected in Maryland's history. This was at my niece's graduation, and he said something that was very impactful and powerful that I think is a great lesson for you all today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe always. But he said something about if you're unclear of the destination, if you're unsure of the destination that you're going in life, do you have the will to see it through? If you're unsure about whether you're going to be successful and you're doing a business, you're going to school, it's not sure that you're going to get a degree just because you go to college. That's actually not that's not a guarantee. There are no guarantees in life. You're not guaranteed a good life, a happy life, a life of wealth. You're not guaranteed anything other than the opportunity to fail or succeed at what you're doing or what you're trying to accomplish. You're not guaranteed because you start a business that the business is going to thrive or that your idea is going to be successful or come to fruition. And when you don't have that heading, you don't know, do you have the will to see it through? When I started Ancestry Lands, and actually, let's go before that. When I started what was to just be a land business, to buy a property, to own real estate, there was no thought of Ancestry Lands and the channel being where it is now. I had no thought of generational wealth. It was an idea that I looked to pursue. And once I got a little bit of a door opening, when I got that first property, something told me, okay, I have confirmation that I can do it and I can do it again. And that first property turned into the second property, the third property, the fourth property. And when I got to another point, I said I could take it even further. So now we're at well over close to 100 properties that my wife and I have owned or still, I'm just talking about that we've touched through. And I'm just a nurse. I'm not some guy that came from wealth and family and money. I haven't been handed, no one gave me, Ancestry Land startup money to get this started. I had to do this by simply working a little bit extra and putting some funds towards this thing that was now a business. Excuse me. No, my idea was not because anyone approved of that idea when I started. And it's not a me going, but I'm just giving you some point of motivation to show you that I didn't start with massive bank funding. I didn't start with my father giving me $1 million to start up my business. I had to actually get out of mud. And what people found out when I went to ask people, hey, did you want to invest in this idea that I'm doing? No, everyone said no. So I started Ancestry Lands on my own, learning the skills of the trade of what I do and how to do it well. And at some point it became a business. And I say that to inspire you all because, again, I didn't know it was going to be this business. I didn't know this is what it was going to be when I started it. So again, in life, when you're looking to do something, when you're looking to say, I'm going to go get a degree is just a milestone. It is not your career, what your career could be. I mean, I've been a nurse in many different ways. I've been a nurse in dialysis. I've been a nurse in pediatric hospitals. I didn't know when I got out of school that I was going to be a nurse in all the things that I have been a nurse in. From working at the third largest children's hospital in the country to working at a dialysis clinic and now working back into a med-surg hospital. There was no way that I knew I was going to be all those things when I started. But when nursing school got hard, when I almost failed, because people will tell you, man, I was on the line of failing. When I did not pass my NCLEX course for the third time, and on the fourth time I was going to pass, I didn't know I was going to pass at that point. I had already met failure more times than I could count, but I was not going to fail at the determination to see it through, to accomplish what was going to be success at that time. I'm a dang good on nurse now, but at the time, I didn't have what it took to get that nursing license behind my name. Goodness gracious, what is this guy driving? That I have now and I've had for 22 years. I say that to you because, again, your destination is always unclear as your journey. Your journey is much clearer than your destination. And what a lot of people are doing is looking for a confirmed destined outcome. They're looking for a destination that they can guarantee that every step leads to, that it's a sure step, every step. There are no risks. There is no chance for failure. And as soon as they get a little bit of taste of failure or pushback in life, people fold. They crumble. And they do that because, to me, like I've said before in other videos, the hunger to succeed was only if the outcome to be successful was guaranteed. Let me say that again because I'm dropping gems on y'all. The hunger to succeed for people who give up so easily is only because the outcome was guaranteed. They could see where they were going to step. They could see that they were going to be successful. I can get right there because I could see it. When it becomes risky, when it becomes unknown, when they're unsure, you need fortitude. You need resolve. You need consistency. You need determination to be able to go. I got one of my good friends, and I hope he's watching, Avon Coburn. I always say his name wrong because I always always the Born Destiny, but Coburn. He did a dancing competition, and shout out to him, at United Way, Dance with Stars United Way. Now, he was determined to get down and weight, and he looks dang on good. No pause on that, but that's my brother. And he ended up taking number one. This is a Hall of Famer in West Virginia University, and I've interviewed Avon before. Shout out to him. Did he know he was going to get first place? No, he didn't. But his destination was not guaranteed. The outcome was not guaranteed. I got people like Don Coombs and his wife, Lori Coombs, where they're going through trying to succeed in the upper echelon and competing in NASA realms, where their outcomes are not guaranteed at all. But their determination, you can see, that is what's guaranteed, that they're going to be determined to be successful. It's the same thing in marriages, man. Marriages, if whatever you think going into a marriage is not going to be the same thing when you are in the marriage. When you change, when your wife changes, when you become parents, when you get 10, 11 years in, it's different. It's not the same as the new love that you walked in. It's no longer new. Well, I had talking to a nurse one time. She says, well, maybe you picked the wrong wife. I asked her, do you have the same car after 10 years? Do you treat your car the same way after you had it after 1 year? What in your life do you value so much the same day that you got it? I mean, hell, people don't even value their lives that much. So I say all the time that the novelty of things has us impassioned. The novelty of you starting your journey has you impassioned. But when you're in 6, 7 months in, or you hit a downturn after being successful, I've hit that all the time in my business. I've hit downturns where things were going good, then the money starts slowing up. Now you start looking and say, hey, things are going down. You get you ignore it a little bit. You might do this with your finances. Things are starting to go down a little bit. Okay, maybe we'll bounce back, right? You give yourself false assurance. Things will be all right. I'll just get another deal. Then 6, 7 months go by. Things start slowing, like the economy. You see businesses going left and right. They're letting people off. Now you've been let off. You've been let go at a job. You've been laid off. What do you do now? Now you got to dig deep. You got to start being resourceful. You got to learn to upskill. You got to learn to have skills that you can transition to or leverage in a time like this. And I've talked about this before in other videos. You cannot be a one-trick pony. Things are becoming more obsolete now. Jobs are becoming more obsolete. My thing is, I got a theory here, folks, and follow with me. I know I'm kind of moving around a little bit, but you're going to have to keep up. I think a lot of companies are laying people off intentionally because what they are doing is they're trying to not just do it because of now for this economy or recession that we're going through. I think they're doing this because they really are making way to invest wholly in AI technology. So what happens is when they bring in the new wave of employees, they will have AI in front of them as their boss or management or the people that they report to. They're putting these systems in place right now to lay off human workers, so the machines are now your middle management. The machines are the buffer between the low-level employee and the boss. So when you get fired and lay off next time, when you get reprimanded, your boss is now an AI. It's algorithm-based employment, algorithm-based termination. Now the AI is the one that is responsible for your firing, your performance, your raises. The machines will determine how successful you can be in life. That's my theory, that they're doing that. This is not because companies are worried about profits or benefits. I think it is they're bringing in AI to overhaul the system. And I think it's happening at a wider level than what people think. I think it's by the time we get aware of it, it will be long in place and it will be a shock and awe. Now, is that bad? Maybe. But many technologies, from the horse to the car, from the bow and arrow to the rifle, there are many things that have changed overnight the way we do things in our society and civilization at large. Our job is we have to learn to adapt. I said this word that most of y'all have missed: upskill. You have to up your skill base, up your skill parameters, up your skill delivery. What you bring to a job cannot be your degree. You have to have other skills. You need to be good at some form of tech, some form of AI, some form of anything else. You got to have good QuickBooks skills, something else other than the basic job requirements, because basic job requirements, even for a high level paying job, will only get you the basic pay. It will not adapt to the cost of living that you will incur when your life increases. And we've talked about that before. Because again, your life demands will increase when you're a single person, all the way up until when you start a family and have a family. And then you have a family that has a family. Even as a grandparent, you're still going to need to support your kids. And your income will always be somewhat going down or level off at a point later on in your life. But the time to get prepared for that is not in your damn 60s. It's now, while you have the income and the life, the energy to be able to work and save away for those days. You got a lot of broke grandparents out there that don't do anything for their grandchildren because they have to prioritize themselves because they did not prepare for grandparenthood. Not just parenthood, grandparenthood. And I say that because every parent understands and knows what it's like to get help from family. And when you have parents that can financially help, you get a leg up. You get an extra win. You get a wind at your back when you're sailing, because again, when the parents started to have the child, the grandparenthood was baked in the cake. It doesn't matter if you could see yourself being a grandparent. The day that you decided to become a parent or enter into the realm of potential parenthood, it was already baked in the cake. It is your job to make sure that you see that all through, because that is your lineage. Your lineage doesn't just start with your children. It goes all the way through. Your actions today affect the future, the things you do. The people who came over on a boat that were darker than me gave way to me being here. They didn't know that I wasn't written in their journey, but I'm still a part of that history. That's what I'm trying to impart upon you all. You start seeing a bigger picture now. How it works. You've got to be able to see your journey through, even if the destination is unclear. When Steve Jobs and them, when they started Apple, when Jeff Bezos started Amazon, he didn't know he was going to be a billionaire. He didn't know that he was going to take it to this level. The destination was unclear. The determination was clear. And that's the point of this video. Do you have the determination that overrides whether you can get to your destination or not? Are you failing even if you get 99% of the way and you can't get to 100? Are you a failure then? Or because a lot of times people fail because they don't have that determination. And I'm going to end it with that, folks. You need to have determination in life that is directly involved into the reason why you reach your destination. You need to have the determination that even if failure is like Leonidas and the Spartan 300, they went into that battle understanding that failure was almost guaranteed. It was not a guaranteed outcome that they were going to win against Xerxes and his army, his, million man army. It was not guaranteed, but their determination was they were going to make an impact. They were going to galvanize everyone to make it known that they stood up to Xerxes and his army. And what did that have? What did that effect have throughout history? If they, and you can look this up, if the Spartan 300s, which we know was not actually 300, if they did not have that battle at Thermopylae, we would not have democracy. The democratic idea of democracy would fail to have existed, because democracy was born in Athens and those Greek city-states. They would have taken it over and crushed it completely. And their sacrifice led way to them pushing back and overtaking and keeping democracy where we stand, where we now have gotten into this nation and many other nations for that. Is the reason why you can complain about not having enough in life rather than being enslaved like people were in other times, rather than being not poor, but impoverished, where you have a chance to be successful in this world. And to the Americans here that I'm talking to, where you have a chance to be poor but wealthier than most, then you're still wealthier. You're still in the top 10% of wealth in the world. Even though in America, you may be in the bottom 90. Because you got running water. You got toilets. But again, if your destination is not clear, do you have the determination to get there? You have the determination to get to that heading, to get to that unsurety. And let me tell you something, folks. If you're going to quit at the first sign of adversity, you're never going to make it. You're never going to make it. If Jordan had quit at the time that he got cut from the high school basketball team, we would never have Jordan sneakers right now. We would have something else. Same thing with Kobe. Same thing with many other people who've experienced failure along the way to become great. And it doesn't matter if you have a big goal or a small goal. If you have the determination to see it through, you will probably make it further and more likely succeed than anyone else who failed or stopped at the sight of the first adversity that they encountered. And you're talking to a person who's went through it, lived through it, and is still going through it. And I'm telling you, the one thing that people see in my eyes, these eyes right here, is that I'm determined to succeed. And I want you to have that same determination. But determination starts with you having unwavering faith in yourself. I didn't say you don't doubt yourself, but you need to have unwavering faith at the end of the day. You have doubt, you take doubt and you move it out of the way and you get back to centering in the faith. I'm not talking about religious faith. I'm talking about belief in your ability, because your determination is always what comes through. I'm talking to man, woman, child, whether you got a mother, a father, whether you don't have either parent, whether you're older than me and younger than me. You have to have an unwavering determination in yourself. You need to have faith in your determination. If you have faith in your determination, you will more than likely win where other people will falter. I want you to be successful. I want you to be motivated. But first, you need to build up determination, and you've got to see it through. In anything in life, you got to see it through. And that's the only way you're going to succeed. Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. Again, I'm going to say this before. A word from the wise is peace to your mind. Peace. I want you all to have peace in your mind and strength in yourself. I want you to believe in yourself, because I believe in you. And if you're watching this video all the way through this 19 minutes, then you have had some determination to listen to words that can change your life. If you're hearing the words and receiving the words. I want this to be an inspiration, but I want it to be a motivation. Go back to this video when you are looking at yourself and you are looking at your determination falter. Use this video as your guide, as your inspiration to pick yourself up and say, I am going to have unwavering faith in my determination to get to the destination, regardless if I could see it or not. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.